2 days before Christmas, and all through the house, not a winner was found because we left them off the last ticket, Terry.
Yeah, that's
Ay, ay,
true.
ay. That's the second time in 2 weeks that the horse that we put off to the side kind of came back
Get us, yeah.
to bite us in the rear, Terry.
Yeah, it was. And it ran a pretty good race, too.
Yeah, got to the front and never gave it up, right?
No,
I
never
thought
did.
for a minute there the horses behind it were going to catch it, but unfortunately, our alternative pick, that's like I said, the second time in 2 weeks, and that was a nice one again, Terry. I don't know how much it paid, but I know it wasn't a small one.
No, it was pretty nice.
I think it was a four-figure one, right? $1,000 pick four.
Could be, yeah. Yeah.
Being penny wise and dollar foolish, as the old
Yeah.
saying goes, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Just needed to maybe put our go 4-4-3-4 instead of 4-4-4-3 or whatever we did.
Yeah.
Sound a little bit like Moses Malone back when they won the NBA championship. What he said, 4-4-4-4-4. Maybe we should just call it the Moses Malone fly four, and then just go 4-4-4-4.
We could.
And then I'll reach out to Moses Malone and get permission to use him saying 4-4-4-4. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. Why don't you try to do that?
I will reach out, and that'll give us a few more dollars to spend, right? The 4-4-4-4 fly four.
Yep.
A lot of fours going on there, Terry. Maybe we can find some kind of sponsorship with something else, like a 4x4 company. People who make electric, because there will be no more gas-powered 4x4s. How that's going to work, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just one question for that. Where does the electricity come from? But just a question. All right. So bold. Anyway, let's talk about the news, Terry.
Okay.
There's a veterinarian that was involved in the Jorge Navarro case, holding the blood horse here. Dr. Rebecca Link, she's agreeing to cut all ties with horse racing for 2 years.
Yep.
Is in a part of an agreement with federal prosecutors. You think Jorge got 5 years in jail, the $30 million fine, and she's not going to be able to hold any licenses for 2 years?
Yeah, it seems a little light, don't it? I mean, if she actually did work with them to juice these horses up.
Yeah, I think what this is also telling you is who the person is that was the rat, so to speak. And I don't know that for sure, just speculating, Terry, right? But
I know, yeah.
I would guess that the reason why they were so lenient on Miss Rebecca Link is because perhaps she was, became part of the witness team, I guess. I don't know.
Yep, could be. Yeah.
Yes, but just a guess. No absolute there, folks. Just a speculation on my part. So I do think that's a little bit light. What do you think?
I do. I think it's light.
Yeah, I do as well. And then talking about the bad bet vet, the next thing we want to talk about is betting in general, Terry. So Gulfstream Park has had a little bit more competition, and according to the folks over at Horse Racing Nation, the Gulfstream trends are down for betting this year, although betting in general is up to start to December.
Yeah. And I think they're pretty right. I think there was more interest in Aqueduct, and I think the reason for that is because people don't really know how to do that Tapeta or off, that different track. They don't know how to handicap that yet. So, and of course, Oaklawn's now running at the same time. So,
yeah, I think that really probably boils down to it is that Aqueduct meet and the fact that Oaklawn is open up and the uncertainty over the new synthetic track makes it a little bit more difficult because it's unknown for bettors, not like in advance, but at least you have a sense of what the track bias is. And when we had on Peter Aiello, the track announcer for Gulfstream Park, part of the Q&A, we asked him about the any emerging biases for the synthetic course, and basically what he said is there aren't any.
Yeah.
So I can understand why bettors might be a little bit, kind of wait and see how it plays out, so to speak.
Yep, I think that's what they're trying to do. So,
sort of like when a new car comes out, like a new style of car, Terry, and when the new style of car comes out, they people tend to wait a year or two before they'll buy it, right?
Yeah,
let them iron out the bugs. So,
yeah, I think it's a good idea to do that. So,
yeah, I think it's probably you'll probably see as it emerges that you can hit some prices. Maybe you'll see more people really bet that Gulfstream Park synthetic track, right?
Yeah, and it makes me think about Laurel, where they replaced the track surface, and then they had problems, and they had to stop racing for a week, and that's the sort of thing. So,
Well, hopefully, the new track at Laurel will help me find more winners there because that's a track I've always struggled at for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that you always hear is horse racing's in trouble. Horse racing. I don't think horse racing's in trouble, Terry, because everywhere we look, according to Pollock report, now Lone Star is going to boost their thoroughbred stakes schedule by 600,000 for 2022. So that's 21 races worth $2.85 million. So I think that's a pretty good sign that horse racing is healthy in the Lone Star State.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, they probably have been generating enough, income and that to be able to do that. Although sometimes I think maybe they're doing it because they've fallen off a little and they want to try to bring more better horses in. So,
Well, I do think obviously the better horses are going to be attracted by the better price tags, but still, I think Lone Stars are doing a decent job because you do have some big trainers there like Steve Asmussen, right? He has horses out of there, and you see a couple of other decent barns every now and then. You'll see a Brad Cox horse or something like that there. So I feel like that's a track that could easily move up in the rankings.
yeah, and it's been improving the last few years too because I think it was running a lot less quality horses before
Mhm.
5-6 years ago. So I've actually been to that track one time and I didn't do too well.
No. What were you doing there? Quarter horse time, or were you doing it during thoroughbred time?
Thoroughbred time. It's been years ago. This is
Mhm.
when it was. I think it's considered a minor track. So
Yeah, probably still is a little bit.
yeah.
All right, Terry, how does your best bet do yesterday?
Well, let's see. My best bet yesterday actually came in. My first pick ran third, but my second pick won the race. So
Not bad.
again, it's something that's starting to happen. Is my second pick this month has been doing a little bit better than my first pick. So I probably should
Switch them around.
switch them around. Of course,
Mhm.
if I did that, it'd be like changing the name of changing the horses out, and it would be go the other way anyway. So
Yes, like always happens to me for sure.
yeah, so the second choice won and paid 580. That was Giant Heyday number 2. That's a good name.
Giant heyday. I mean, how did you not have it first?
No, I meant Giant Payday.
Oh.
I would have had it first. It was Heyday. And then Life's Been Good so far. Didn't get in the money.
The Joe
That was my
Walsh horse
third.
didn't fire.
No.
Hmm.
So anyway,
So today, what do you have for us today, Terry?
okay. Today I like race number 6 at Parx, and I've been trying to do my best picks of the day prior to our pick fours when I'm able to do that, so that if somebody wants to use the pick 5, they can. If they used my 3 horses in the pick 5, and then in that last race threw that 2 in, they would have hit the pick 5. So
Yeah,
yep.
would have cost $10,000 to play it, but you would have got it.
Oh, I don't know that much, 200 or 300 maybe. And sometimes that's worth it because I think it paid, I don't know, 4,000 or something.
Oh yeah, no. Yesterday was a big day. If we had moved that 2 in there, we would have had a really nice day. It's just,
Yep.
so, like I said, 50-50 has gone against us 100% of the time lately, Terry. So hopefully we can do some 2020s and turn them into 100s.
That'd be nice. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I like the race 6 at Parx, and number 9, Walk Me Home, has won 2 races at Parx Racing. The last one at Today's Distance, so you know that she likes that distance. She likes Parx, as she's won 50% of her starts there. And then number 2, This Round's Mine, won her last race at Today's Distance at Parx. She has finished 75% of the money at Parx Racing, and she's won 50% of those races. And then the third pick, number 1, Little Tater. I've always liked Little Tater. I've bet it a few times. Has finished in the money 6 out of 7 races at Parx, and the distance is something she has shown that she can handle.
So are you a tater tot guy or are you a French fry guy, Terry?
French fry.
Nah, French fry. So yeah, me too. All right, so there's Terry's play of the day, best bet of the day, his top 3 picks at race number 6 at Parx. You can get Terry's best bet every single day over at horseracingtoday.net. We also recap our show and put it over there with links to all of the stories that we talked about. So make sure you head on over to horseracingtoday.net. You can follow us too on Twitter and Facebook. You see it, the scroll below at Horse Race 2, the number 2, and then day. Of course, you can subscribe right here on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can make $1 or $2 from YouTube. So they don't just make money from us, the company Google, we can make a few bucks for them too.
Yeah.
Right. For sure. They can just steal all the information and they get to make all the money. Give us at least a nickel back. All right, Terry. So you did, as you mentioned, your best bet of the day to butt up against the start. Well, the start of a pick 4 today at Parx. Let me just say that it will take some divine intervention. We'll need God's help today, Terry, to hit this pick 4 because, and what do you got, like 20 horses in every race? It seems that way. It's like every race is the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, there's long fields, and they're very competitive. The first one starts with a maiden, I think, and
the first one is a maiden race.
Yeah.
The first race is a 6 furlong maiden race, Terry. That's I think there's a couple scratches. I think only one horse, the 2-horse scratched out of this race, was at least the one competitive horse. But other than that, the field is really deep. I think how many horses are in there?
So there's 11 if only one scratched.
Yeah, I think only one scratch. So 11-horse field with some maiden horses, Terry. You have a mix of first-time starters. You have some horses with limited experience. Oof, I think this is going to be a difficult one to get it started with. So we should probably go forward. Well, one of the things I would say is in constructing the ticket, after looking at all 4 races, do you feel like there is a race that doesn't require as many horses as the other races?
It's really hard. No, I if I was going to pick one, it would be the 10th race. So
you see, yesterday only having 3 in the 10th race cost us. So I don't know that I don't know that I would want to do that. I feel like, to me, Terry, from looking at this, to me, either the race 8 or race 9, I think, are the one where we can go 3 deep.
Yeah. But if I was going to pick one of those 2, I'd pick 9.
So you want to go race 9, 3 deep?
That's right. Yes.
And then we'll go all right. So let's start with race 9 then, Terry. What do you think?
Okay. All right.
So that way we can start with where we're going to put the least amount of horses and maybe give ourselves an opportunity then to expand out again. So race 9, Terry, is 7 furlongs, which it's an allowance, $5,000 race, $50,000 purse. 7 furlong races, Terry. They've had 208 of them. 146, Terry, were won by horses that would be classified as speed. So first 3 at the quarter-mile marker. And 77 of the 208, or half of the speed horses, won going wire to wire. There is an absolute inside post position bias, Terry, which is kind of interesting because you have that big long backstretch, which I find kind of unusual because usually when you see horses at that real long run before the turn, post position doesn't really play that big of a deal. But this is the field that I think does have probably I don't know. This one has 12 horses in it, 13. Anyway, ton of horses in it. Go ahead. How do you want to start?
Actually, this has, I think, 13 horses.
Yeah.
14. Yeah, I'm going to start with number 10, DT Goody. And DT Goody, first of all, let me say there's none of these horses have won a race this year at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're all 0 for 13 for, starts and 0 for 13 or whatever, something similar to that. But I like the number 10 horse because the trainer wins 33% of the time when he goes from a route to a sprint with his mounts. And then this horse has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and its best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, and it's got, mediocre workouts, but it's been working out for this race here. So,
well, DT Goody, Terry, the last time out did show some pretty robust early pace figures, but that late pace figure just got awful. So it really gave up. But if you look at the most recent time the horse was on the outside, where it was one of the outside horses, 7th horse in the 7th horse field, it did okay. So maybe backing up to a sprint from a route. And, 7 furlongs is really, it's kind of like a hybrid race to me. So I do think that the 10 horse does have a shot. It's one of my horses in there as well. My top selection in here, and I don't have it in here, so we're going to have to make this. I have to make a number up right here, Terry. But my top selection is a number 14, Septimus Service.
Yep.
I do like those what would you call the transformer-like names? I guess if you're going to go by a name, that's
Yeah, that's it.
from the movie Transformers for sure. So looking at this horse, it is one, Terry, that I expect is going to show early speed. In fact, I think it's probably going to be the fastest out of the gate, unquestionably. The horse is coming off a layoff. Last time out, off a layoff, it did okay. But I went back and looked at the horse's history, and it does have a decent history of coming off a break and doing well. It's run well at Parx. The horse has hit the track in Philadelphia there 15 times. It ran on the board 8 of 15 times, has a second and a third at the kind of quirky 7 furlong distance. And then when you look at the recent workouts, the horse's workouts haven't not been that good, but it put in a bunch of furlongs of work, so 12 furlongs. So I expect the horse to be fit. I do expect it to show some speed. And when you put Jeremy Lapita together with the trainer, Michelle Castillo, they don't do too many together, but they've won 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I too like this horse. My second pick. And it has the highest last speed rating in the race. And if you look at that last race in October, it ran a really good race. Only got beat 3/4 of a length, and it increased and improved its speed rating by quite a bit by 8 points. So it's one that I think's really a good one. So
this is race number 9, by the way. I'm putting him in the wrong spot. All right, Terry. So our last pick, who's it going to be?
This is going to be a hard one because I'm going to go with American River. Is the
and
one?
What number is that?
It's number 6.
All
And
right.
it just ran a race at Penn National where it improved its speed rating by quite a bit between Parx and there. It's ran twice in the money at Parx. It's ran a third at this distance. Last race, it was only beaten 3 3/4, and it came into the stretch 5 wide. So, I think this is the one I would like to use.
You'd like to use that one. I agree with you. This is kind of wide open. For me, Terry, the horse that I would like to stick in here is the one horse, and that's Hooray for Harvey. First time off a claim, not really been the best angle for Timothy Shaw. Has only won, he hasn't won any out of 6 so far. But the rail is winning at a pretty high clip. And last time out, if you look at its fractions relative to the race before, ran some pretty good early fractions. When you look at its internal numbers, they all improved. So the early pace was 82, the mid pace was 82, the late pace was 83. That tells me the horse actually ran a pretty good race, maybe ran into some pretty good company. Got claimed. They're going to move it into a level. I feel like that early pace on the rail, Terry, is going to be something that works out pretty well for this horse. The last time it ran on the rail, it got off to a decent start, finished second by 2.5 lengths. It was the betting favorite. It was at Parx at a mile. So today, I feel like getting the inside draw, having some early pace should give the one horse a crack to get into the winner's circle as a horse that goes wire to wire.
Yeah, I too agree with you there. I love the jockey, Frankie Pennington.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that between the 1 and the 6, if we're only going to use 3 horses, I would probably lean towards the 1.
All right, so let's stick the 1 in there. And this is a 50-50 right there, Terry. I hope that's the 50-50 we get right today, right?
So do I, yes.
So let's rewind to the beginning then, race number 7, because in constructing this ticket where you have wide open race after wide open race and with a fixed budget, we had to determine which race we wanted to put the fewest amount of horses in so that we have a little bit more wiggle room elsewhere. So race number 7, Terry, is the race that kicks off the pick 4. 6 furlongs, 323 races, 226 won by speed horses. Again, those are horses that are first, second, or third at the opening call. And then you have 126 that were first all the way around the track, Terry. Again, this is a race where there is a mix of first-time starters and a couple of horses with limited experience. There's probably going to be a pretty decent favorite in the 5-horse, Mr. Sandman. I don't know necessarily that it warrants being the big favorite because it's had a chance to win, really hasn't done anything. But what do you think? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I like the number 7 to beat the number 5, Noble Gaston.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you why. That first race at 5.5 furlongs, it ran fifth by 11, and Mr. Salmon did run second in that race. But if you watch that race, this horse was in tight early and came really wide into the stretch.
Hmm.
And so I think, and he's got a hot trainer who in the last 14 days has 6 mounts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. And I do like the Angel Castillo as the jockey.
So I'm going to go, I'll let you work around the horses that have had experience. And I'm going to start with the horse that doesn't have any experience, Terry. That is the 6 horse, Myquist. His papa, Nyquist, was a, I think, Kentucky Derby winner, right, Terry?
I think so. And Uncle Mo is a really good sire. So,
Well, Nyquist,
grandsire.
if you look at Nyquist's history, Nyquist was a horse that liked to get to the lead, Terry.
Yeah.
And so I think when you look at Myquist, and I looked also at Lady 52, is another horse that did okay. But when you look at Nyquist, you look at some of those workouts. The workouts are okay. The last one was a little bit better, 50 and breezing. So I don't get a sense that the workouts are really all that good. But what I do when I go back and look at Nyquist and the early pace, I'm expecting this horse to come out and have some early pace. The last workout wasn't that bad. If you dial it back to October, had a pretty good workout, 49 for 4 furlongs, 15th fastest to 56th at Parx. And coming into this race, Terry, that horse has a ton of workouts. Let's see, in the last month, it probably has about, 5, 10, 14, 19, has about 23 furlongs of workouts. So I have no question that Myquist is going to be fit. My only question is he going to be as fast as Papa out of the gates? And if he is, look out.
Yes, I agree with you there. So it's actually my 5th pick. So
All right.
yeah.
So who else do you have?
Well, I think we need to put Mr. Sandman number 5 in the mix.
All right.
He's improved in the last 2 races. He ran a good second last time. He closed coming in wide, and also he has the highest last speed rating. He has the best dirt speed among today's starters who have ran on the race. So I don't think we can leave that one out.
Yeah, I don't think we can either. I just think that with all of these first-time starters, it's going to be tough to see which one is going to win. I'm going to go with number 10 as my other second first-time starter, Terry.
Okay.
And that is Natabili's Knight, looking at Carpe Diem. Again, looking at the pedigree, it looked like to me that's another horse that was pretty close to the lead out of the gates. And when you look at the horse's workouts here, the workouts are pretty solid. They're not blazing fast for sure, but none of them are slow either. It's got a bunch of 48s, 49s and 1s, 49s and 2s and for 4 furlongs. And those are pretty good times. And then when you look at Michael Pino bringing a horse to the track for the first time, when he debuts at maiden special weight, he's won 6 of 20 so far this year. Overall, he's won 30% of his maiden special weight races, and he wins at about a 20% clip with first-time starters. And then you got the top jockey there, Ruben Silveira, on the horse. So pedigree says the horse should be quick. Trainer has a pretty good track record with horses coming to the track for the first time. I expect you're going to see a good effort out of the 10. I just wish we had somebody a little bit on the inside because there tends to be an inside bias here.
Yeah, and the 10 is my 4th pick, so I like that. But I do have an inside horse that I like also.
Who's that?
We could put off the side. Number 3, Scaramouche. The sire wins 16% of the time with first-time starters. And this trainer, his 22% win clip with first-time starters and 19% with debut maiden special weight. I like the workouts. December 8th, 5th out of 16, 101, breezing from the gate. And Frankie Pennington's riding this horse. And I think the breeding suits today's distance. So
yeah, I looked at Munnings, the papa there. It was not really one that got towards the front, really more of a mid-pace, like a stalker. Not a closer, but really not that far off the pace. It's one of the reasons why I came off of it a little bit. And just looking at and why I went with the 5 and the 10 as first-time starters. But those are my 3 first-time starters that I like, the 6 and the 10 and the 3.
Okay.
I felt like the workouts were a little better on the 6 and the 10, and the pedigree was a little bit more slanted towards speed, which is the way that you want these horses to go at 6 furlongs on the Parx course. But you're right about that inside post. That's the part that really concerns me a lot. Race number 8, Terry, is 6.5 furlongs. So they're going to add a half a furlong from the last race. This one is an allowance, 5,000. They run 162 of these races, Terry. 112 of them were won by speed horses. 71 went wire to wire. And once again, we see horses on the inside tend to have an advantage. I'm going to start with the horse on the inside. Jay loves Billy. I wonder why, but the horse was claimed last time out by Scott Lake. He wins first time off the claim at about 16%, but he's got a ton of tries at it. So, and then he's taking the horse and he's dropping him off a claim, which normally would be suspicious, right? Yeah. Last time out ran for claiming 7,500 non-winners of 4 lifetime, but the purse in this race today is $50,000. So I don't feel like it's actually a drop. It's maybe a drop in class, but it's not really a drop in terms of purse. And when he drops a horse off a claim, he wins at 36% of the time. If you kind of dial it back a little bit, the horse does, it comes from off the pace, so not really fitting the, it doesn't really fit the speed angle. But I don't think this horse is going to be all that far off the pace based upon its early pace numbers, Terry. So I think it'll be a little closer than it's been of late, and that inside post should help.
Well, you convinced me. I didn't have it in my picks, but you convinced me with you're pretty good at convincing me on things like this. So
yes, well, maybe I should talk to you about the money in your bank account then. So who do you like?
I like number 7, Midnight Miracle. Midnight Miracle has the last race speed rating, has the highest, and it has the highest speed figure at today's distance. It just missed by a head in its last race. It's a horse that likes to be close to the pace or on top, and the jockey has done fairly decent.
So yeah, what I like about the Midnight Miracle, who's my second selection in this race, Terry. So in the last race, so I'll pull this up on the screen real quick so that we can take a look at it, if you don't mind, Terry.
No, I don't mind.
In the last race, you see that the horse, so it ran 6 furlongs back-to-back races, right?
Mm-hmm.
And despite the fact that it was up on the lead here, and this time it was kind of chasing a little bit, but the fractions were 22-4 versus 23-3. It was 46-4 versus 47-3. And then you have a minute and 2/10 versus 59 seconds and 2/10. So really, the horse ran a second faster through the first 5 furlongs than it did the race before.
Right.
To me, that's usually a sign of a horse that's improving. And if the horse is improving, despite the fact that it was first, the fractions tell me that horse is getting better. So I guess I also have the 7 horse. I have it as my second selection. The next horse that I have on my list, Terry, and all these outside horses today, but it's just one of those days where the horses that I like are the horses that do they are where they are. Number 10, Janelle's Dream, Terry. This is a horse again that's not going to be on the front. But if pace does go fast and a horse is going to close, this horse has made up ground in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of its last 8 of its last 10 races, Terry. So it will be one that's coming strong at the end. You have Frankie Pennington, again, one of the top jockeys at Parx. And then the Parx record, although it doesn't have a win at Parx, Terry, it does have 4 seconds and 3/3 in 18 races. So it's been close. And again, this is a horse, again, much like the one last time out, it ran 1 mile and 70 yards. And when you look at the fractions once again, this horse improved its fractions by almost 2 seconds.
I like this horse too. It's my second pick.
All right, good.
Frankie Pennington's been in the money 8 out of 12 times in the last 7 days, winning 3 of those. So yeah.
All right. Pick. So who's going to be our 4th pick here, Terry?
I like number 11, Townsend. Tosin.
Townsend? Yeah,
Townsend.
Yeah, we'll go Tosin. Yeah.
If you look at it, Prax, he ran Prax November 22nd. He ran second, beaten only 4.5 lengths. And he improved his speed rating by 15 points between the one in October and the one here in November. He has a really good workout. The 14th of December, it was third best out of 16, and he likes at least can win at Parx because he's done that. The distance he's won one out of two races or two starts. So
I do expect some improvement. I thought I would expect some improvement because I was looking at this 11 horse last night and I ran through its records, Terry, and it seemed like every time the horse had a second race off a start, it backed up and sometimes badly relative to the first race. So I was looking at it and the 12 horse. Isa won. Isa won last time out is another horse that improved its fractions. Finished second at 1.70 miles. It does have some early pace, so it could be a part of the early lead. So it's between the 11 and the 12. I'm going to let the 50-50 choice be up to you, Terry, this time around.
Well, they were right next to each other in how I picked them. So, I think that the 12 horse is a little more consistent and a little closer to the pace. So he doesn't have to come from so far back. So let's go with the 12.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go with the 12 horse. That brings us to the last race, Terry, of the day. Race number 10. Like I said, this is going to be, if you do hit this one today, Terry, it's going to be a nice payout because there's just so deep, so many potential tickets. Again, this is a pick forward. I would definitely probably lean more towards the hot dog side, although you do have to have a lot more coverage. But I would definitely be looking at internal wagers in here as exactas or trifectas, that sort of thing along the path. Because with 13, 14 horse fields, it's going to be. You got you have the maiden race to get it started. This is going to be a tough one to hit. The last race is 1.1 miles, Terry. It's a claiming 7,500 non-winners of 2 lifetime, $20,000 purse for fillies and mares that are 3 years old and up. They've only run 13 races at this distance, Terry, which is hard to believe. 10 of them were won by speed, Terry. 7 of the 13 actually went wire to wire, which kind of surprised me a little bit. So who do you think is, and as far as the pay, they don't run enough races to really get a sense of the post position, but it looks like 1 through 7 is kind of played fair. Kind of shocks me that there's not an inside here because it turns left much quicker than like some of those 6.5 or 7 furlong races do. But I don't know, to each his own. What do you like?
I like number 5, Monsters Rising. He switches to Ruben Silveira, who, as we've been talking about, is really burning him up there. He's 24% win clip. And then this horse has the best dirt speed among, which is close to the average winning speed. And it won its last race by a head at Laurel. And it's got a really good workout on November 2nd. 35-1. Actually, the workouts, he does really well in the workouts. So
Monster Rising did win last time, Terry. Ran its best race by far. And it went wire to wire in its 10th try to break its maiden with the highest last race speed figure. It's about the only way I'll take a horse that broke its maiden in the 10th try to go ahead and move it into that next race. It's only moving up the claiming, so it's not that big of a deal. But I do like the fact that it did show some early pace in that win, Terry. My only concern is it took 10 times to win a race, and then it was a really cheap maiden claiming only a $10,000 race. My top pick here outside of that horse, Terry, is number 8, Rue La La, Terry. That's the interesting name, right?
it is.
Well, Rue La La is a horse that should show some early pace. In fact, when you look at the early pace numbers, they're as strong as any, if not the top in the field. So I'm anticipating that the horse will be closer to the pace than usual. And when you look at its kind of the way it runs throughout the race, Terry, horse runs pretty. You don't see like a big drop off in its pace figures at the half mile marker or at the 6 furlong marker or in the late pace numbers. So if you just rewind back a couple races, you see the horse did get towards the front, And if it can get to the front today, it does have the late legs to continue all the way to the end.
I like 8 Rue La La too. It's my second pick.
And it's just fun to say.
It is, yeah. And
Mhm.
Lewis Lender Jr. Is winning at a 21% clip with his mounts. So,
All right. So who else do you like?
okay, Beautiful Star, number 9. The trainer wins 22% of the time in bringing a beaten favorite back.
Mm-hmm.
And the horse has, you know, has it
So when
really,
I look at this horse, Terry, the Beautiful Star horse, when I ran my early pace figures and my late pace figures, Terry, it had the third of fastest early pace numbers, and then it had the second best late pace numbers. So it's, again, another horse that should get towards the front and have an opportunity to stay close to the front. And at $100,000 horse, it's not an inexpensive horse to be in this field.
Yeah, that's true. And it has pretty good dirt speed. So
we got one more horse that we can stick in here, Terry. The question is, which one do we want to go with? I'm looking at the 7 horse, Terry, as a possibility for me.
Okay.
And that is She's Euphoric. Well, we'll be euphoric because She's Euphoric wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a horse that should be coming pretty hard at the end, Terry. Does have a win over the Parx course with a pretty decent run at the end. Is made up ground in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of its last 10 races. So She's Euphoric. If speed, and there's a lot of these horses do speed and then fade. It does have some of the best late pace figures in the field, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either this or maybe African Song. I think the next pick is pretty much wide open. Who do you like?
Number 3, Spainster's Gold. Ran second versus similar last time out, and has a really good early running style.
But I think, Terry, if I remember correctly, I think the 3 was scratched.
Oh, that's right, it was.
Yes, because I had the 3 as my top pick, and then it's not in. Let's just double check to make sure before we go ahead and say it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but I'm 95% sure that the 3 horse is scratched.
You know what? You're probably right about that.
That's why I didn't put him in my picks. Otherwise, it would have been my top selection.
You're right. 3 and 4 are both scratched. So
all right. So go ahead.
I'll just let you put in the 4th horse because I haven't got one other than that. So
all right. So for me, again, as I mentioned, I feel like looking at this, that let's see. Inside speed works a little bit here too, Terry. Let me just take a quick look at this 2 horse again and see how that 2 horse fires out of the gate. Boy, this is a tough one for me.
He did pretty good at the mile and 16th. He ran 3rd.
Yeah, he did show some early speed last time out, but that was from the 11th position. So I'm looking for a little bit of early inside. Just the 3 is scratched, maybe some little inside pace. We got the 4, we got the 5 already. The 1 horse, does the 1 horse show any early pace? No. The only horse that's showing any inside early pace there at all, Terry, is the 2 horse. You want to take a shot with the 2 or the closer of the 7? Let's go with the inside pace.
Yeah, I like the 2 the best out of those 2.
So inside pace to me is the way to go. All right, so taking a look at our pick 4 at this really deep Parx sequence. If we hit this, Terry, it should pay a lot. So let's hope that we do get it. Race number 7, we have the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 10 with the 3 horses our alternative. On race number 8, the 1, the 7, the 10, and the 12. The 11 is our alternative. Race number 9, 1, 10, and 14. The 6 is the alternative. That's the weak link there, Terry. Race number 10, we have the 2, the 5, the 8, and the 9 with the 7 as the alternative. Fingers crossed till we get this one across the line, Terry.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so.
Let's look at your Parx hot dog pick 4, Terry. Tell us how you lined them up.
Okay, well,
you got a lot of courage there at the bottom of that ticket, Terry.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I started in the 7th race with the 3, and then I used the 5, 7, and 10.
But I think the 3 horse. No, the different race. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was in.
That was race number 10.
10, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the eighth race, I like the 4, 7, 10, 11, and 12. Then I took in the ninth race, I took it with the 10 and the 14. And in the 10th race, I singled again with the 5.
So I went, Terry, with race number 7. This was really difficult for me. I was looking for the single in this deep fields. I couldn't really find one. The closest thing for me to a single might have been the 7 in race number 8, but that would be about the closest thing for me. Maybe the 14 in race 9, but I had a hard time singling a 14 horse where inside speed has worked, even though it's probably the fastest horse in the field. But I went 5, 6, 10. The only horse that we have in common, well, we have 2 horses in common there, the 5 and the 10. Race number 8, the only horse we have in common is the 7. Race number 9, the only horse we have in common is the 14. And in race number 10, the only common horse we have is the 5. So you might want to think about, in this particular spot, taking your top 4 picks and just putting a ticket together inexpensively and hoping they come home. But hopefully we've, between our hot dog and, again, I'll pull up the Fly 4 real quick, Terry. Between the hot dog and the Fly 4, we have a couple of winners in there to go home with.
That's right.
So box it up, Terry. This is where we take 5 horses, 4 horses, and we box them up for a $1 exacta box, a 50-cent trifecta box, and a 10-cent superfecta box. We're yet to hit the super. We've hit a bunch of trifectas. Yesterday, we both had an exacta.
Yeah. And yours actually paid pretty decent yesterday. But I liked the Parx 5th race. I actually had different horses in here, and 2 of my horses were scratched. I had to scramble and really look again.
All right.
I like number 2, Lady Valentine, with number 7, Exena Town, number 4, Super Duper, and number 9, 8, Danzas.
8 Danzas. I went over to Tampa Bay Downs today. I'm going to keep it sunny and warm, Terry. Right? It's getting cold up here in Chicago. Our mayor says she's putting us back into lockdown of sorts. But I wanted to go someplace that was sunny and warm. And I went to Tampa Bay Downs for race number 7. Again, this is also a race where number 4 horse, I believe, is a best bet over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. We have best bets for 3 races out of every card. Every track today is covered. Yesterday, we had a pretty good day over there, winning like 26,000 potential in winnings with our top 4 picks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good day. But I'm going to go with race number 7, number 4, Unleveraged, number 3, Lion Charmer, number 7, Marv's Magic, and number 9, Saucy Derek. Hopefully, we can bring home an exacta trifecta and get that elusive first superfecta, Terry. That's what I'm
be
looking for
nice.
today. All right, Terry, I think that pretty much. Oh, one final thing today. Speaking of Guaranteed Tip Sheet, today they do have a free track over there. So if you head on over to guaranteedtipsheet.com, just register. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. And if you do so, you'll be able to get today's Evangeline Down picks for free. And that is one of those quarter horse tracks, Terry, where just about anything can happen.
Oh, yeah. And it's fun to play those a lot of times. So.
To me, it's like playing a lottery a lot of times. Those horses,
it is.
They're bouncing off of each other, and what you're hoping for is just 3 horses that come in at 10-1 and above.
Yeah, and I when I play those, I usually don't play win or anything but trifecta. Usually trifectas are what I play, and I'll pick 4 or 5 horses and box them. So.
Well, one thing I've learned about the quarter horse racing is you have to have the horse on the outside, no matter what the track is, because they get the cleanest trip, and there's nothing to its outside to bounce off of.
Yeah, they do very well. So they really do. And the inside doesn't do as well.
Well, there's too much traffic in there, but a lot of times, if the one breaks clean, though, and gets to jump on everybody, or the 2, like one of those inside horses can break clean, and all those other horses next to it are going like this, like popcorn, then the horse, if you can pick an inside, and every person we've ever talked to who handicaps these things says they're actually easier than thoroughbreds. You just have to watch the videos, and the ones that can break straight and fast, they're the ones that win. But I imagine in thoroughbred racing, the ones that break straight and fast probably do pretty well too.
And the other thing, you really need to pay attention to who the jockey is in quarter horses, because there's some of them that are really good at getting them broke out, and some that aren't so good. So, and especially there's a lot of places where they run thoroughbreds and quarter horses in the same night or day. And the ones that are really good at thoroughbred may not be that good at quarter horse, and vice versa. So anyway.
So I want to say thank you, Ruben Presadio, for giving us a thumbs up today. If you like what you saw, please do like Ruben. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook or a thumbs up on YouTube. We appreciate that. Follow us on YouTube at Horse Racing Radar TV. You can, and the love. We like the love too. We absolutely love the love. Thank you, Takashi. If you love us, more love. Keep it up, folks. We appreciate it. Thank you, Sean. We appreciate that as well. And follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Facebook and Twitter at Horse Race Today, the number 2. And then you can also subscribe to us at YouTube. Help us get to 1,000. I just jokingly say we're going to get 10 cents from YouTube. I don't even think we'd get 10 cents, but it's just a good figure to get to, right, Terry? And it is where they allow us to monetize it.
Yeah, it's true. So anyway, and tomorrow we're going to do Gulfstream Park. So, and they're pretty deep fields again tomorrow. So that could be a good day to get a pretty nice size pick 4. So.
Yeah, I think Gulfstream and Tampa Bay are the only 2 tracks running tomorrow. Yeah. Then they're going to be quiet on Friday and Saturday for obviously Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. They'll return on Sunday. Terry and I will be here tomorrow, and then we'll be back on Monday. If you want us to include your Gulfstream pick 4 tomorrow, thank you, Jimmy Little. We appreciate the thumbs up as well. If you want us to include your pick 4 tomorrow, you can email me at gtsrichb@gmail.com, or you can stick it up on Twitter or Facebook. Terry and I will make sure we bring it up. We appreciate everybody following along, and hopefully today in that Parx, between the boxes and in the pick 4s, the hot dogs, and the fly 4s, we find something today, Terry.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, folks, as always, we hope that you have a fantastic hump day and that all of your picks, at least one in every one of our races today, Terry, at the Parx Pick 4, ends up in
the winner's circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic Wednesday, everybody.